Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, fam.
You know what it is.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Couch Crows after a long hiatus. I am your host, Andrew the Comic Crow. Take it away, our very special panel. Bro, that be you.
Hey, everybody, it's Origami here again. I know it's been a while, but whatever. I'm back, whether you like it or not. You can find me Twitter, Aura_Gami, or just check out the YouTube channel.
And
What's up, everyone? This is the champ.
Oh God, he's back. Chris Ranger's back in my laptop.
The power of Christ compels you. The power, that's the one thing you didn't do. Get rid of him.
To follow BPM_Broly on Twitter or visit my YouTube channel, Broly Power Maximum.
I'm Muslim. Why would I say the power of Christ compels you?
Because it always works. Anyway, go ahead.
And our very special guest today goes by ToyBountyHunters. Please introduce yourself, man.
Hey, what's going on? I'm John from ToyBountyHunters. YouTube channel, of course, is ToyBountyHunters. Twitter, ToyBountyHunter, because they won't allow me to put the S. They cut it off just right there. So social media is pretty much all the same. All around is ToyBountyHunter. ToyBountyHunters, I should say.
All right, yeah. Perfect. Well, and as our guest today, our first question should always be, even though we bungle it all the time, specifically me. Please tell us about your channel, how you got started on YouTube, for everyone watching.
Well, my channel is something that I started in 2011. I mean, I've been on YouTube since YouTube started. From day one, I created an account back in 2006. Saw all the different content creators and stuff on there. It's something that content creation is something that fascinated me way before YouTube was ever even a thing. Like, I would always, I was part of stagecraft class in high school and things like that. I always tried to get into TV production, though never could. But what I would do is I would skip class into the TV production class, and the teacher was cool enough to let me stay and learn some of the stuff in there. So it's something that always fascinated me prior to the YouTube days. And once YouTube came around and things started happening on there, I kind of I wanted to do stuff, but I got into the whole mindset that most people do. Is like, how would I begin to do this stuff? It seems so much harder than what it is. So it kind of delayed everything until 2011. I was like, screw it, let me just learn. So I kind of learned on the fly, started the YouTube channel, and I wanted to start off with something that I didn't feel a lot of people were doing at the time, because there's people doing all sorts of stuff. 2011, the angry reviewing thing had already kind of passed by then a little bit, but there were still people doing that whole shtick of trying to do angry reviewing. That's something that never really interested me, although it's something that I was entertained by up to a point. I wanted to do like different stuff. So I wanted to do something more informative, something more fact-based. So I started off by doing a documentary series on the history of Super Sentai and Power Rangers. Super Sentai is what Power Rangers is known as in Japan. That's what it was adapted from. So I wanted to do kind of like a multi-part docu-series, just kind of, because I didn't really see, it's something that Tokusatsu is something that interests me. And I didn't really see too many things out there on it, although apparently there was, but I just had never really found anything, at least not a lot of it on YouTube. So I was just like, I guess that'll be my jump point. And I just kind of started doing that. But my intent was never just to kind of stick with that kind of content. But I kind of got a little bit pigeonholed to it, because it's the one thing that people really liked that they came to the channel. But it was never, the channel was never meant just to cover that, but it's kind of gotten a little bit of the stigma of it's about that, so yeah, that's pretty much how I got the start, and just been on YouTube ever since.
That's awesome. Do you still stick up? Do you still are you still interested in that Toku stuff, by the way?
Yeah, I still am, but I definitely don't make as much of that content as I used to. I'm trying to get away from it a little bit. And the bad thing about doing that, though, too, is it kind of hurts your numbers when you've already kind of established a base. And it's not me saying that I'm completely abandoning it and abandoning those people that subscribe for that. I want to do more than just that. I think I could do that as well as other things. So that's in recent I would say within the last year and a half, 2 years, I've really tried to branch out into other things, more into gaming stuff, which is another interest of mine, and more recently into comic book stuff and anime stuff and things like that. Just things that interest me that I want to relay information about. So.
Oh, yeah, it just sounds like you're expanding to a broader array of an audience in geek culture, so to speak.
Yeah, trying to, because again, that was really what the channel was intended to be, was kind of trying to be a little bit more of a one-stop shop for, I guess, coming up with new unique concepts for it, but just like I said, just have a multifaceted channel.
One quick question, and then I'll let somebody else have a go. But did you ever get into the obscure versions of Toku? Like, what is it? Beetleborgs, Kamen Rider.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if you've seen, I haven't covered any of it. But I have, like, I made I did make a top list, I think, 2 or 3 years ago at this point, maybe even longer ago than that, where I kind of covered some obscure tokusatsu movies, and that if people that are Tokusatsu fans, they might know what they are if they've watched a lot of Tokusatsu, but some of them are pretty obscure. Like Mecha Droid is a pretty obscure movie, but if you've been watching Toku for a long time, you might know what it is.
Right.
So stuff like that, and I wouldn't mind like doing something a little bit more comprehensive at some point, but that's pretty much it for now.
I got you.
Can I just hop in here and say, I heard you guys say Sentai and Toku, and all I can think about is that Tokusen.
Oh boy,
Sentai.
It's almost the same realm. No, it's not, but whatever.
Yeah, the way I describe Toku to people is just it's really, I guess the best way is just to put it to people so they kind of understand it a little bit more, because when they initially see it, they just think, like, if they see something like Kamen Rider, so it's like Power Rangers, it's just like, well, no, not exactly. I mean, it's similar, but there are differences with different shows and stuff. So I just tell people, just think of live action superhero anime is the best way to kind of, so that they kind of understand, because a lot of the things that they do in Tokusatsu is stuff that you'll see a lot, the mannerisms, the things that they say and stuff. It's a lot of it is the same still in the live action stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
I've wanted to ask, only because I have to ask everybody, and it's not the question that these two fear me asking. We'll get to that later, buddy. Did you see the Godzilla movie? I
did, yeah. I actually saw it last week.
What were your thoughts on it?
I liked it. And the thing is, I didn't like the first one, though. I didn't like 2014 at all. I didn't, it wasn't a terrible movie, but it wasn't.
It didn't really have Godzilla in it.
What about 2000?
Oh God! Stop with that movie.
Godzilla 2000. Yeah, I like Godzilla 2000.
What?
I did too.
It was great.
Oh my God! The mommy Godzilla and the little baby Godzilla raptors.
Which one? Wait. You're talking about 1998 Godzilla.
Oh my God! Oh, okay. I'm getting
1998 Godzilla is. Here's the thing. 1998 Godzilla is a good monster movie. It's just not a good Godzilla movie. Because there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it that really, nothing in it that really resembles Godzilla.
Yeah, he's a fake. It's a fraud of a movie.
Yeah, it's not.
She's a fake, nothing. Guys. She's a fake.
Yeah, it's still considered we can't misgender.
Excuse me, it's man. It is man. Once again, it's man.
I have to set both of you guys.
Right beforehand, you fucking said, sir.
Sir? Sir? Sir?
Man.
Sir? Sir? Sir?
Man.
Sir? 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 Sir?
Motherfucker, take it outside. I will show you a fucking sir.
You're here, so. I guess we'll leave that one up to interpretation, I guess, so. He was a he, then he was a she, then he was a he again. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
So-
and they look the same.
Don't
you know?
judge. I mean, look,
Yeah.
guys, there's a whole spectrum of genders. Let's be respectful.
Okay.
Look,
But
Godzilla made it cool before it was cool. So
Yeah,
Godzilla
they're-
1988.
It was woke
1998.
before woke was a thing. There was Godzilla.
Exactly. Godzilla 1998. Yeah, Godzilla 1998.
and then there was
Godzilla 2000 was the Toho one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up whenever anyone says 2000 Godzilla. I always think that 1998 one.
Have you seen the Netflix original Godzilla?
No.
I haven't seen those, but my buddy has been telling me you need to watch them. So I have them on my watch list, but I haven't gotten around to watching them yet.
That's
On
the one where the humans go to space or something.
Yeah. It's like the anime one. It's like a three part movie series.
Favorite Godzilla movie, Shin Godzilla. I think that one came. Good.
That one was good. Yeah, Shin Godzilla was good. That's what I've told people recently that have asked me about King of the Monsters and Shin Godzilla. Which I think is better. I think Shin Godzilla is a better written movie for sure, but I kind of like King of the Monsters a little bit more. It's a little bit more fun.
It
Yeah.
totally
A
is.
little bit more fun.
The music in it too, like when
Yeah.
I think everything just clicked for that movie.
Yeah.
It's more of a fan service thing as well because it brings the actual Godzilla monsters and the actual Godzilla. Shin Godzilla seems kind of like a remake of Godzilla because he's evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's serious too. That's the thing. It brought back Godzilla to a more serious kind of tone with serious, like a dark tone, and just not goofy at all. Although, of course, that first form that he's in it looks kind of goofy. He's got the googly eyes.
Yeah, he's crawling a little.
Yeah. That tripped me out. I laughed in the theater when I saw that. I was just like, "Oh man,
Yeah,
it's hard to take it seriously right now."
when I was so pumped up to go see the movie because King Ghidorah was in it, and I really thought that they were going to screw it up like they did with the movie.
No, King Ghidorah was the best thing I think about the new one. Like they did him right. They did him actually the way they did him the way he's meant to be portrayed, like as the be all end all, like ultimate threat to Godzilla. I think that's the one thing that they got 100% right. I think they even better. Like they made him so menacing in this new movie. That's one of the things that I really liked about it.
Oh yeah, we could turn this whole podcast just into going over Godzilla if I let it go on any further.
No,
Sorry.
I'm not going to let you.
I won't let you. No.
Shut him down, AG.
It's like, oh, by the way, Broly, it's your turn to ask the question.
Oh, you don't want me to ask the question?
No, ask the question.
What's your question?
Okay. What's your favorite Broly movie?
My favorite Broly movie, first one.
Yes.
It's
First
very
Broly.
iconic. Very iconic.
That's true.
Yeah. Because they got a little bit. I haven't seen the newest one, the super one that came out. That's the only one I haven't seen. I saw the previous ones though.
Would you like to? I could let you borrow it.
I mean, if you don't mind, sure. I mean, I don't know where you. I heard you live here in Florida, but I don't know where you're at though, man.
He'll
told you that?
Oh, it looks like Crow isn't the only one who accidentally potentially doxes his friends.
My bad. Was I not supposed to say that? I'm sorry.
I would hope you would edit it out, Crow.
Well, you just edit that out. Yeah, make sure to bleep that out. So, definitely bleep that out. Sorry, my bad, man. I didn't mean to put your information out there. Man.
It's all right.
Since I'm going to be editing,
just change Florida to Mars. It'll be like Mars every time, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Origami's address is.
No, stop! You actually know it.
Oh man. Well, you know what? Actually, the first Broly movie, because I really like Dragon Ball Super Broly, but I think the reason why I liked it so much is the animations. It is definitely, and I'm a big Vegeta fan, and it's like one of the first Dragon Ball sort of Vegeta's jobbing for Goku.
Good.
Yeah,
I liked the first one because Broly was supposed to be the villain, and he portrayed as a really good villain, like very threatening, very menacing. And in the newer one, he's completely different. You know, he's not he's not the villains anymore.
No, it's Frieza's still the villain of that movie.
Yeah, you know, like so it's a different Broly. You know,
and I will say this though, the way that they defeated him in the first movie, I still don't understand, because he's just beating the shit out of everybody, right? And then all of a sudden Goku summons up just a little bit of strength and explodes him.
Well, Broly popped like a balloon. He had too much energy.
I know. I'm just like, that's.
It was a cop out. It was a cop out.
I do like the newer one more, but the first one was probably my favorite Dragon Ball Z movie. If not Janemba, Janemba was really, really good.
Same, I agree. Totally, 100%.
Well, the abilities Janemba was doing were fucking amazing.
Yeah. In terms of ability, too, you see Broly in Dragon Ball Super, you see him, like, progress drastically. Like, you see him start from base, and then he's just pulling off all these crazy feats. So, it's a better show, I think. But,
he's an actual character, but, we won't spoil it too much.
So,
I need to watch it.
For Bio Broly?
Bio Broly doesn't exist.
That didn't happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Get out of the podcast. That'd be cool if you just kicked him right now. What?
I can.
No, don't.
Hey. I promise I'm not going to kick John if he answers no to this next question, so you better not kick me for that one.
Oh, come on. No, if you kick him, I'll kick you. Immediately.
John.
Talk to me.
Have you seen JoJo's?
Of course, man. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Yeah, man. I got as far as... I haven't seen the newest season. I got up to season 4.
I don't care. Promote this man in the Discord server right now, BP. Promote him. Promote him.
I mean, it's great, man. I mean, I love fighting. Fighting animes are great, especially ones that are based on other ones or that were inspired by the ones that I already liked, like Fist of North Star, because I know that Araki got a lot of his inspiration from Fist of North Star. Of course, he takes in a completely different direction, man. It's so good, though.
Oh yeah,
he really promoted him. He's already.
Oh, he did. Nice.
Yeah, he did. Good job. Fun fact: BP. We kind of, I don't know. Did we force him to get into JoJo, or it's like peer pressure?
I feel we did.
I mean, it's great stuff, though, man. It's stuff I would be down to talk about regardless. JoJo's such a great series. I love fighting animes, man. I love manimes. They're manimes.
Yeah.
Part 5, I don't think BP's there yet, right? You're on part 4 right
No,
now?
I'm on part 4.
Okay, we won't talk about part 5. All I'll say about it is it's the main JoJo doesn't really feel like the main character.
He's not.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, and you get the torture dance scene, which is amazing.
Vocal percussion on a whole nother level, coming from my mind. Vocal percussion on a whole nother level, coming from my mind.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, in part 4, the main character is Koichi.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, That's true.
Yeah, I guess.
Wait, it's not Josuke?
No, because it starts off with Koichi being like, "Yeah, it's a boring day in Japan," and he meets Josuke. So it plays off like that.
I mean, obviously, his stand's actually pretty good too.
Yeah, it's Koichi, because then you get episodes with him, solo episodes like with Rohan, and when he got kidnapped by the girl with the hair, I forgot her name.
Right.
Yukiko.
Okay, that love story with too is.
Oh yeah, it's the crazy girl, right?
Yeah, she basically brainwashed him.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So we're all caught up to part 4 then. What's your favorite part of JoJo?
I mean, my favorite is actually the first part, Phantom Blood. I like Jonathan Joestar the most, I think, and the reason why I think it's probably because he's the one that kind of, out of all the JoJos, he's the one that resembles Kenshiro from Fist of North Star the most.
And he's a proper gentleman. So
yeah, he's a proper gentleman. I would even say he's a little bit more noble to some degree than even Kenshiro in some points. But that's probably why I like it. Why I like Phantom Blood the most is just because of his character.
Yeah,
see, I like part 2 the most because I love Joseph's character.
Oh yeah, Joseph's great too. But I don't know. This is something about Jonathan Joestar and the fact that he was. The thing with Jonathan is just he was much more of a humble character.
True.
So I think that's also part of the appeal. You know, like you said, the perfect gentleman. So I don't know. I just found it to be more appealing.
Jonathan is the prime example to set the bar of what the Joestar name is.
Yes.
So, you have the epitome right there, Jonathan. So then when it goes off, it branches off, you get Joseph, who's kind of a dick,
He's braggadocious, yeah.
Yeah. And then you get Jotaro, he has a little more of Joseph's elements, he's just the badass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's the brooding one.
Yeah, but what Jonathan
brooding one.
Exactly, and what Jonathan does is he's the icon, he's the pinnacle of the Joestars and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So
that's
awesome.
It's hard to say that. I really can't disagree with that. In part 1 is I think I do like part 1. Watching it now because I went back and I rewatched it. I do think I like it more than I like part 4. And I like part 4. With respect to anyone who loves part 1 favorite, but Speedwagon though, kind of what makes part 1 so great.
Yeah, bro. And it's he's that deadly hat, man.
Broly, what's your favorite one so far?
I'd say my favorite is Jotaro in part 3, just because his friends are so freaking funny. Even Joseph being there with him, this is kind of like a double win because I liked Joseph, but then the combination of him with Jotaro is hilarious.
Yeah, it's true.
I like their dynamic.
The thing about part 3 that it's Dio. The final fight with Dio and Jotaro. If they didn't nail that, then I think it would have just dragged down the entire part 3. But they
Crow.
Man. Yeah.
What about you? Part 2?
Oh, part 2.
Part 2?
Yeah, I loved. I just love Joseph's character. He's so fun. I love when he pulls his secret technique and is just running away.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, dude, what's he gonna do? Right? He's totally screwed here. And then he just turns tail and runs, and I'm just like, damn. My hat's off to you, man.
Good
Joseph.
stuff.
Joseph was an innovator, man.
He was.
Well, I know because I've had this discussion with a couple other people who like the series. I get that when you get to part 2, Joseph is just doing shit and pulling crap out of nowhere. You really have to shut your brain off while you're watching it for it to make any sense. But I'll say this: out of all the people that they fought, even fighting Dio in part 3, I think that the villain that Joseph actually takes down, the ultimate being, I think that tops out all the other feats for me in the series so far.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. Because Cars actually achieved what he wanted, and it went to his head, and that's why he lost. He got cocky.
Yep.
Next
But
question.
that said, he still got stomped in part 3.
He did.
Well, yeah, because his.
We all saw Sammy react to that.
Yeah. Actually, Old Man Joseph I really like too, but as far as I didn't like the fact that he wasn't able to do as much in that part. But when he's fighting that one little thing that infects him, I thought that was great. When he gets when he gets magnetized to
to Abdul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God! Please, somebody help me!
どうしたアブドゥル。なんかこの姿勢がすっごくやばいんじゃないですか。人に見られたら誤解されるというか。誰も見てやせんから早く離れるん。いっぱい友達連れてきてる。おいてめえら向こうに行け。わしらを見るんじゃない。こら行けと言ったら行け。このガキはアブドゥル早く離れるんじゃ。早くと言われてもこれは私の役じゃない。決してわしが動か。ジョースターさんゆっくり。
素敵なお方と思って追ってきたのにこんな趣味があったなんて乙女心ももてあそんだわねこの浮気者。
早くしてアブドゥル。わしはもう涙が出てきた。
この悪党が。
Help me! Oh my god! うわいちょ誤解。やった。お互い離れて行動するんじゃアブドゥル。お前の磁力もだんだん強くなってきている。
呪われろうすらボケ地獄へ落ちろ。
They're just grinding against each other. I'm just like, yeah, see that's why JoJo's is at the same time the straightest anime and the gayest anime.
We got a judge here.
Okay, well, Aura, I want to go into the fifth dimensional multiverse stuff, but you wanted to talk about paranormal stuff, so I'm gonna let you start.
I've got a little bit more of a direct question in terms of our guest here.
Yep.
So you've been involved with conventions at least up until recently, right? How did that come about, and what's been your overall takeaway from your experiences?
Well, for me, like I've been going to conventions I started off going to conventions, so started off as an attendee, probably about over 20 years at this point. So started going off as an attendee. Then once I started getting into content creation, that's when I was able to get press credentialed into a couple different conventions. So I've experienced conventions from the attendee aspect, from the press aspect, and then from there it just went to a point of actually being involved in a convention as part of staff and as part of higher staff, because the convention I was a part of, and I got to be there right as it started, which is great. From the first year, it was a very niche type of convention, and from there, just the experience was pretty much just really learning a lot of the moving parts behind the convention. Mm-hmm. Learning what all goes into making this happen, which is the stuff that I kind of knew a little bit about, just from being around conventions, but really got the specifics on. What goes into booking these places, what guest contracts, vendor contracts, all the different contracts that there are for how it is that you're going to be there at the show, guidelines, rules, it's the growing pains of running a convention as a first year, convention starting off small in a hotel and then gradually growing in size and improving and things like that. But the way I got involved with being a part of that convention staff was I actually reached out to, when I found out that particular convention was happening, I reached out to the owner because I was working on that documentary series, on the Super Sentai Power Rangers documentary series, and the convention was a Power Rangers themed convention. So there was guests there, and I was like, it'd be cool to interview some of these guests for this series that I'm doing. So initially, it was kind of like, hey, I reached out to the owner. I was like, hey, I see you got these guests coming to your show. I would like the opportunity to, if I can, I would like to interview some of them. I said, I've done press for other shows before, and what I can do in return is I can help promote your show. Like I'll plug the heck out of your show. This is what I can do. Not that I had this big old audience to do that with, but it was kind of like, it was like, I help you, you help me kind of deal is how right. I kind of went into it. And then it just, me and the owner hit it off so well, is that, he ended up just kind of bringing me into the fold. It was just like, hey, I could use your help beyond this kind of stuff. And it just, we became friends, and, he brought me on, and it just, from there, I learned a lot of stuff that I had no idea about before. Just, how public relations works and things like that. And just, again, all the moving parts that go into a convention. So I was there. I recently parted ways, just because of just different things. Also, I started up my own business a couple years back, and that's taken a lot more of my time now. The married life also takes a little bit more of your time as well. Right. So that and just the way that my life was going, it was just kind of finally to that point, just okay. There's things that I need to dedicate more time to, and I'm not sure that I can really put as much time into this as I would like to. So it was, and it just was something over time, something that I actually would probably would have resigned sooner than I had, just because of the way, things were going and just where the direction my life was going. But I tried to hold on as much as I could. But finally, it came to a point, finally was, okay, it's time to move on. It's time to do different things. So, talk to the owner, and everything was amicable. It was an amicable split, but it was cool to be behind that curtain and see how things work. That's why it's, to me, like everything that I've seen happen out there regarding guests and conventions and things like that, I always find it very fascinating, because there's a lot of stuff that people that are a part of conventions and that have been a part of conventions, or they say, or so they claim, that they've been a part of a convention scene for X amount of time. I find it very interesting, some of the stuff that they put out there, and some of the things that they kind of omit when people are trying to push a certain narrative about something.
Shame.
Yeah, I guess you could say, yeah. Like there's just I just, but not just that. Like I'll give you an example. Like the when people are putting out there, we'll use Kamehacon for an example, right? When there was people out there saying like, hey, give me a refund. Give me a refund. And the thing is, there was vendors. I saw there was some vendors that were wanting refunds for stuff. They're just like, hey, give me a refund. It's just like, that's not how it works.
Right.
There's the fine print is there online. Once you're locked in, there's generally the rule of conventions is the smaller they are, that the tighter the more they're going to be a little bit more stricter with certain rules, and it's because they're small and they can't afford to lose certain money. Like it is a very generous thing when a convention is able to give you, say, hey, if you're going to cancel coming to the show, you're not going to you decide that you're going to pull out, you're not going to have a booth at the show, you have X amount of days to let us know so that we can refund you the money. To me, that's a very generous thing because there's been so many conventions that don't necessarily do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you see stuff like that, when I see stuff like that, and that's another aspect I've experienced the convention is as a vendor. And from here on out, that's probably going to be the primary way that I experience conventions because I have my own business. You know what I mean? And I've gone to several different conventions as a vendor. So for me, it's business and it's pleasure. It's a little bit more business nowadays because of that. But when I see that, I know what I'm signing up for is my overall point here. I know what I'm signing up for when I go, when I'm intending on going to a specific convention. So when I see stuff like that and they're just like, and I see people complain about stuff like that, it's like, come on, you know what's up. If you've been doing this long enough, you're fronting. You know what I mean? You know better than that. You're doing that to virtue signal and make it look like you've been wronged. No, you wronged yourself.
Yeah, like making a spectacle.
Making a spectacle of it, exactly. And it's just like you wronged yourself. And you know what's up. Don't sit here and put yourself out there. Yeah, crucify yourself as this martyr because this big bad convention is not doing right by you. You know what you're signing up for.
Right.
Well put. And not to get you into any trouble, so we'll just omit your you're actually working with the con, but what would you say your favorite experience as a con goer in all has been like?
I'm not working with the convention anymore. I'm not a part of the staff no more, but so just you know that. But sorry to interrupt. Continue your question.
What would you say your favorite experience has been as a con goer in general? Between the vending, between the media pass, between your first time going to a convention.
My favorite aspect really was working as part of staff, because the thing is, it's cool to it's very exhausting and it's super stressful. Those couple months leading up to a show, and then the week of the show, and then just the days that the show starts. I mean, that's when you're gonna lose. Like every year that I worked at the show that I worked at, I lost sleep, man. Every single night. One of the last people to leave, because you're part of the main staff. So you gotta be there. You gotta make sure, double check, triple check, make sure things are locked down, things like that. Make sure everything is right. And but the thing is that once it's all said and done, that last day, when you're completely exhausted, everybody's left, everybody's gone home, it's already gotten dark, and you're just finally getting to leave the place where the convention was held at, there's a great sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. Like, that was a good weekend. That was a job well done. That was like the best part. That was a very gratifying feeling. To me, that was the best part of being involved in a convention, was that kind of feeling of accomplished. Like, we got through this. We're good. There's relief. Like, now I don't have to worry about this for a couple more months before we start planning again, and then it's repeat. So
I like the way. Oh, go ahead, AG.
No, you go ahead. Finish, please.
So, would you say it's been kind of a journey then, like a progression? Man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I value that experience because it's something I'm going to take with me going forward. I mean, to the point. I mean, prior to me being a part of that convention, I had always had aspirations to have my own. And it's something that it's a goal that I still kind of have. And if it's in the cards, cool. If not, too. But the thing is, it's one of those things I would love to do. I would love to put on a show for people. But knowing what I know all the stress it can be and what it takes to do all that. And it's a lot. Like, I've seen so many conventions fail because they don't really understand what all goes into making a convention. There's a lot of just misconceptions with people that try to be promoters for shows. Like, there's sometimes that you'll see, like, these shows they decide to go big or go home, and that's not always the best approach when you're trying to create a place for fans to congregate. I think the best way to go is with a humble beginning. Is to make, because the truth of the matter is, if you got a reason for people to come out and then you give them several reasons to stay, you'll have a good show.
Right.
See, people will say, well, it depends on venue, it depends on this and that. That can be true to a degree, that those are all things that will factor in. But at the end of the day, it's the heart of the show. That's what's really going to keep people coming back. Because that's what I've seen, firsthand. When people grow with a show, there's more of a sense of community with the show, and there's just they feel like they're a part of the show when they're there from the beginning to grow with it. They have more of a connection with it.
Right.
So,
yeah. Out of all the conventions, what do you just do? Anime or toku, or do you also go to like the horror conventions that pop up here every once in a while?
Oh yeah, I've been to Spooky Empire. I've even set up at. I've been to Spooky Empire. I've set up at a couple different Spooky Empire shows.
Yeah.
Which is a horror based convention, and I've been to all different kinds, man. I've been to gaming conventions. I've been to anime conventions. I've been to
the Comic Cons and all that.
Been to all, man. I've been to every single type of convention, man. I've been to expos. I've just about the only surprisingly, the only kind of show I haven't been to yet is a gun show. But I want to go. That's the only kind of show that I probably haven't been to yet, is a gun show. But just any type of, at least in terms of like, I guess what would be considered like geek type of conventions, or fan type of conventions, I've been to just about every single kind.
That's
just about. Yeah.
Because I was a volunteer staffer at Spooky.
Oh man,
4 years ago or so.
Oh, so you know Petey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I did an awful job though, so I just never went back. But like,
never showed your face again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
yeah, Pete is a cool guy though. He's chill.
Yes.
He's a chill dude, but he's a guy that he has he's gotten what he does down to a science. Like he knows his audience, he understands it, and that's why there's really no other show to compete with his show, because he's cornered that market here in Florida. Yeah. He understands his audience. He understands the horror scene. He understands like what parallels that horror scene too. The whole rock and roll scene and things like that. So he's found a way. He put it together, man. He's the peanut butter and the jelly. He put them together, man.
No, it's great because no one gave me shit about being a bad staffer. I just knew I was, So I can appreciate that.
So, Crow, are you taking notes?
Yes, I am.
It's like YouTuber, check. Become vendor, that's probably next up. Join staff, that's the ultimate goal.
Hey, I would love to join staff. Let me ask you this, John. Just because a lot of the people that watch tend to enjoy the convention, how would you suggest that they would be able to get themselves involved by just signing up as here and then moving there?
Well, this is what I would say. So a lot of times that's how it is. It's entry level. It's signing up as a volunteer. But the thing is, too, is you got to kind of, if you want to go beyond just being the guy who, let's say, watches the door at the vendor room, or watches the door at the panel room, or something like that. If you want to go beyond that it really comes down to you and how you sell yourself to the other people. I mean, sometimes it's the age-old thing. Sometimes promoters will notice a guy that's hardworking, a guy or gal that's hardworking, and be like, oh, I think maybe we could give that person more responsibility. But that usually doesn't happen too often because there's so much going on at conventions, especially the bigger they get. But if it's something where you feel that you can do more, then you have to kind of like show that, hey, look, I know this, I know that, and just kind of like put it out there and really show that you can do it in order to, I guess, move up. You got to show your qualifications to the upper staff and really sell yourself if you want to go beyond just being the volunteer that again just is checking tickets at the door or something. That really comes down to the person, and it comes down to your drive. Or get a hold of somebody that knows somebody in that upper echelon of people that can be like, hey, listen, I want to learn more about this stuff. Like I really legit want to learn more.
Crow knows somebody in that upper echelon of stuff. Name would be on it.
No, Crow. Start from the bottom. Start from the bottom. Volunteer first, Crow. Feel it out, and then if you like it, then beg for favors. Like
if you can beg for the favors now. Thank you very much. Don't tell me how to live my life. You're not my dad.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Well, sometimes it's with me. I think part of it for me was I got a little bit lucky, but the thing is that I kind of I never had to do that. Like I never had to start at the door watching level because I think, but that was because I offered a skill. That's the other thing too. I think if you offer a certain skill that they can find useful, that helps. That absolutely will help. If you say, hey, listen, I for example, I don't know if you see that a show is just starting out, that's probably going to be your best bet in order to really kind of learn things. But let's say like you're really good at video editing, right? And you're just like, hey, you got somebody to make you a promo video or a commercial or whatever, right? You could try to sell them on that, hey, this is what I can do for you. Just to kind of get their attention, because for me it was really like I wanted to help before I knew the promoter of the show. It's something that it was kind of one of those things I was already a little bit passionate about, right? Like I'm not like obsessed with like Power Rangers and Super Sentai, but it's something. It's like it's one of the things from my childhood that I'm a fan of, that I know a bit about. So I'm just like, hey, I know about this stuff. I think I could be useful here. So it was me approaching the promoter like that, like, hey, I know about this stuff and this is what I'm doing, and I sent him the links to the videos, and he was impressed by them, and
right.
that's what kind of got my foot in the door. So that definitely helps. So if you're able to offer like something that you think could potentially be useful to that person, I mean, the only way you'll know for sure is just to try, and that might be a good way to kind of get that foot in the door and maybe bypass some of the other things. But even past those things, it's not bad to do those things either, because you're still going to learn something that you might have not known before. Just even being a guy that,
right?
Yeah, absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that either. So it's just, but even something like that, even doing something like taking tickets at the door can be a learning experience. It just all depends on you.
I think that's the perfect way of looking at it. At the end of the day, I think, like you were saying, want the experience of actually being there. So doing the volunteer thing, even if it doesn't seem like what you really want to do, it should be something that you actually attempt. You see if you're okay with that scene, because I know a lot of people, they're not good around crowds, and it's something where I've talked to people and they're like, I love to work at conventions, and I know them personally. I know that they can't stand being around large people. So I'm like, how is it's you gotta test the waters first. But at the end of the day, it's like you're saying, ambition, having drive. If you don't have those two things, it's hard to get anywhere.
And just an interest in whatever it's about.
Definitely.
Going with the goal to have experience sounds like that's pretty too.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you know the subject matter too, of course, that is always helpful, especially if the right person is listening to what you're saying.
All right, so I'm just writing down my cheat codes here. Be good at editing. Okay, check. Get a following. Working on it. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna insult Crow, but I chose not to. So
why?
Please.
I've been so nice. I didn't advocate removing John from the podcast today.
He likes JoJo's.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is, I didn't have to make that threat.
It doesn't matter. I was going to be like, Crow, You can offer skills, but I can't do them all for you. So,
hey, I will say this right now. I recorded the For the Fans panel, and I have the best audio out of every single recording. So, hush.
You do. That's not a skill. That's not a skill. That's your phone skill. No.
Well, knowing how to.
That's us sitting in the front row.
Yeah, that too.
You've got the best audio of my question.
We're arguing. All right, we got to stop. We got to stop. We'll argue later.
I'd be an amazing cameraman. Please contact me. I will do your camera work and get you the best audio ever. Call me the audio expert.
Yeah, call him. His name is first name Comic, last name Crow. John. It's a question I tend to usually ask guests. I'm trying to format it differently because Deep Humor says I'm so bland. So anyway, if you could start over and reformat yourself, what kind of content would you choose to create?
Oof, man, that's a good one. I mean, if I could do that,
how to be a convention
superstar. I wish.
I'd see it more as music.
I wanted to initially start off with gaming content, but the thing was, at that time, especially, everybody was doing it. Everybody was doing gaming. So I knew that at some point I wanted to incorporate it. I was like, you know what? I don't want to start off with there because that's where everybody's starting off.
Right.
So I'm glad that I started where I did, even though I knew the risk involved with it. So I really wouldn't change it, honestly, just because there was such a saturation of gaming content, and still to this day there still is an oversaturation of gaming content on YouTube.
No,
but to me, I really wouldn't change it at this point. Although if I had started prior to 2011, then I might have gone down that path. Though I might have started with something gaming related.
Would you still be Toy Bounty Hunters? Let's play.
No. Well, I don't know. I might have used my original channel. Actually, my which I still have which is Johnibus Prime. So I might have.
Let's play. Oh,
where's Ruben when you need him?
Right.
Cue the X-Files theme song.
Hey, okay, well that's a good transition to the question I've been dying to ask.
Well, you better edit in then.
What?
Edit the X-Files theme in there.
I plan to. I've got a few things that I want to edit in now. Specifically the Toku Sentai from Team 4-Star. No, I'll ask because you actually put me in touch with Ruben, and I learned so much from roughly 6 hours of. It was great. I will admit my entire being was drained out though on the second one, just because it was really fascinating stuff. I guess you know at least a little bit for me to ask you this question. He goes into talking about the fifth dimensional beings and all this stuff, but mostly about the whole multiverse stuff. Simple stuff, like nothing crazy. What do you think about potential of a multiverse? Do you think that would just be cool? Do you think it's true? Or do you think it's bullshit?
See, I'm not sure how much I believe in, this multiverse theory of there being, multiple versions of the same person. I'm not sure if I'm all that convinced with something like that. I mean, but you know what? I never dismiss the possibility of things like that. As far as like extra dimension, and possibly, beings of other dimension, I can believe, I could probably get behind that a little bit more because of things like spirituality. I mean, in terms of, there's things that the Bible kind of alludes to in regards to that. Like when I think of, when most people think of aliens, they probably think, the typical little green men or visitors from outer space and things like that, which again is possible. I don't dismiss the possibility of that. But when I think of aliens, I think more of that, of in the plane of extra dimension. That to me is what I consider probably to be alien, just beings of other dimension. So I believe in the possibility of any of that stuff, but I'm not 100% convinced on any of it. But I do believe in the possibility of it, and even like I said, even I would even go as far as to say, yeah, even space aliens. I believe, yeah, it's possible that they're out there, that they exist, that they just haven't made contact yet. But again, I'm not 100% convinced for sure, but I'm willing to believe in the possibility for sure.
I definitely know other dimensional beings exist because of Crow.
Yay!
Got him.
Hey, no, honestly, when he went into that explanation during this panel, I thought that was probably the best explanation of aliens that I've ever. It's not something where it could be space aliens, but it was more likely beings from higher plane, like a fifth dimension, or that nature. I mean, it's trippy stuff to go over. I don't want to go into this podcast too much, but it was absolutely fascinating. I think he could really make a believer out of most.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about Ruben is that there's people that would hear him talk and be, oh, this guy's crazy, you know what I mean? But really, he's not a crazy dude, you know what I mean? Yeah, and the thing is, he understands the perception some people have of him from the things he talks about. You know, he's very fascinated and very much into things, but he's a normal guy. He's not crazy at all, and he's one of the few people that I met on the convention scene. Actually, probably the only guy that I've met on the convention scene in terms of having a degree of celebrity, right, or being a celebrity, that I'm actually friends with, because that's one thing that, and I think I may have mentioned this before, another live stream, maybe in one of I want to say maybe Hero Hayes live streams that I'd mentioned before. I always find it interesting when there's people out there that have worked as part of a convention staff, or are currently on or have worked for one, where they have this they kind of overestimate their relationship with some of these guests that are invited to the shows. I've never there's been a lot of times where I've picked up guests from airports, and I've hung out with them for the day, or have taken them to do their radio interviews and things like that. And just, I've had all sorts of people in my car, right? But I don't consider any of them friends of mine. They're just, it was business. You know what I mean? We're friendly, but it's business. You know what I mean? They're there to fulfill their contract and their obligations for the show. And it's not to say that a real friendship can't come out of things like that, but a lot of times I see that there's people that have this misconception of that. Oh, well, I spent a couple minutes or maybe a couple hours with them this one time, so we're cool now. We know each other. We're bros. With Ruben, it's different. Ruben is somebody that I actually keep in personal contact with, and we talk. And when we talk, when we finally get around to like talking with each other, like on the phone and stuff like that, I mean, that we'll have like hours long conversation. You know what I mean? He's a friend, so it goes beyond just that. And he's probably the only person that I've ever really had that kind of interaction with. And I'm not saying that it's not possible with anybody else. It's just some people, you just click with. But Ruben's that kind of guy. He's just a humble dude. He doesn't let the things that he does go to his head. He realizes, I'm just some guy,
Yeah, actually, he really is super humble. I remember we went to the panel. He was setting up his equipment and everything, and I'm sitting down there, and there's this one guy, and he's talking about the Jack Kirby stuff and some Ben 10 stuff, and mostly about like the mentions, things of that nature. And he said something, and then Ruben turns around, and he just starts having this conversation with him. Really just super nice. I mean, like you said, most of the time when I think of people, celebrities, and anyone who has even to that status, I don't imagine them just to go and have a conversation prior to any sort of event, just out of the blue.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, and that's not me saying that, hey, look, all these guests that go to conventions, they're all snobs. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, because some of them, especially, that's one thing that you learn working at conventions. You see people's true faces behind closed doors.
Sean Schimmel.
When you've been able to spend time, when you've been able to, I don't know Sean Schimmel, but I've heard things. The thing is, a lot of, you're able to pick out, especially if a guest is a returning guest, you're able to see the things that the fans don't see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When the convention hall is closed for the day, you get to see a little bit more of who some of these people really are, and you can weed out the ones that are really there for the fans and the ones that are there for themselves. It becomes really transparent really quickly. And
the people that actually love what they do.
Exactly, and it becomes very clear once that convention hall is closed for the day. You see it firsthand. And the thing about that is that humility is something that it's very in that industry. I can understand why it's such a rare thing, because you understand these are people that hear how great they are for hours upon hours every day. So humility really stands out when you see it behind those closed doors. So that's one thing, like I said, and that's probably why, like I said, me and Ruben hit it off, because he's a guy, he was just willing to talk. Like he wasn't a guy that was just listening and then just humoring you. He was just like, let me just humor this guy for a little bit until the next guy in line, or let me just humor this guy for a little bit, and then oh, hey, I gotta go.
Just from real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything.
No, you're good, man.
But from what Crow was describing, because I think I'm the only one that hasn't met or spoken to Ruben, but it sounds like he speaks more like not as a know-it-all, but more like through a philosophical belief standpoint. So he's just having a normal conversation instead of lecturing. So
exactly, yeah. And a lot of the thing is he will throw a lot of information at somebody, and it's not a thing again exactly of trying to be a know-it-all. Yeah. It's just it's more passion. It's just he loves this stuff, and he's like, man, this is cool stuff, and I want you to know about it too. Let me share this with you. It's more like that.
So
it's more like a conversation between two real people instead of just that's a cool thing.
The thing about that panel, like I was saying, it went on for 3 hours. People left, and I think at one point in the room it dwindled down, right? Because attention spans are only carry you so far.
Yeah.
But he still wanted to talk. He still wanted to just go for this stuff because you could tell. I mean, you really tell he's super passionate about stuff. And he wants to share the information. It's not a. I remember I was trying to describe it, and I'm not the best at describing things. And what was the name that you gave me, or the one crazy dude? The cool
David Koresh?
Yeah, David Koresh. And I'm like, no, man, he's not like that at all.
The Waco guy?
The best part is, after all that, he tells me that Ruben gave an analogy about Kool-Aid. I'm like, that's how David killed everybody.
It was a joke. He was telling a joke.
Yeah.
He's trying to start a cult. Oh man!
Because I think like you were saying, I think he understands how it comes across for some people, but he's not like, I'm the grand messiah. I know this, and listen to my teachings, children. It's nothing like that.
I'm choosing to throw a little context out there for anyone who's listening. David Koresh was this crazy cult serial killer leader where he told everyone he was the second coming.
Yeah.
And he poisoned everybody with poison Kool-Aid. That's who Crow made Ruben Langdon sound like.
I was telling you the joke he said.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're awful at description, but anyway.
So we all knew this.
He talks about aliens, but he's one of the most down to earth, sane people.
Yeah. Well, he'll talk about more than that. That's just like that's just like his biggest like passion though. That's like his biggest like thing that's like his biggest hobby is all that stuff. So he's super when he talks about it with people. It's again it's because he likes it so much and he wants to share. It's his enthusiasm. He just wants to share it with people. So that's why he talks about it a lot.
Yeah, I just because I know that I'm terrible at this stuff. Let me when he did his both the panels, a lot of it was about providing you with information. A lot of it was more scientific elements behind it, and he's not just saying it just to say it. He tries to back up what he's gone over with things that have come out, verified news sources, that nature. And that's what I said. Like, I think I tweeted out after the first one. I'm like, I'm a believer now.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, though, for sure.
Definitely. And if you have to approach it with mind, and you have to understand he's trying to, he's not trying to convert you into some sort of
exactly. Thing. Yeah. It's not that. Yeah, it's definitely not that.
He's not trying to mentally dunk on you. That's
no, definitely not. Like the guy is super friendly and really humble. And after the panel, he just he stayed around and he was taking questions from people. And I don't know, man. I thought it was a lot of fun. If you ever have the chance to check out anything he's doing, approach it with an open mind, and I think that you'll at least find it entertaining, if nothing else.
At this stage right now, I'd like to take a second on behalf of the Couch Crows and one of the Broly Bros to say that Ruben Langdon is not David Koresh. Don't be afraid. Crow sucks at this shit. And let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, Aura, let's move on to talking about ghosts.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in the possibility. I believe in the possibility of ghosts. Yeah.
Would you say
spirits?
Yeah. Yes. Would you say The Sixth Sense is a good documentary?
Is it? Sixth Sense a good documentary? Oh man, that movie. I guess. The funny thing about that movie is that everybody. I found it interesting that so many people were like, "Oh, it's such a big plot twist at the end." I was like, "No, it was pretty apparent if you watch the movie and pay attention. Nobody ever interacts with Bruce Willis at all." And I'm not saying that I'm like, "Oh, I was the only one to figure it out," but I'm just saying that it's one of those things. I think that with certain movies, I think people give too much credit sometimes. And I'm not knocking The Sixth Sense. It's still a good movie. I'm just saying that there's certain things that if you just pay attention, you'll catch on to when it comes to certain movies. Like with that one, I was just like, I pretty much noticed immediately. I'm like, why is nobody talking to Bruce Willis at all? Like nobody is interacting with Bruce Willis at all. And I'm just like, he's a ghost.
Wait. Hold on, Weebs. It's okay. It's okay. If you don't have that many people to talk to, you're probably not dead.
Yeah, you're probably not dead.
Let's clarify this.
Yes, exactly. Yes, just to disclaimer. Yes.
Only dead on the inside. That doesn't mean real life.
The Sixth Sense was ruined because I knew about the twist ending. So I'm just like watching the movie looking for it.
What a twist!
Oh my gosh, was that M. Night Shyamalan who did that?
Of course it was. That's
what he put him on the map. That's what put him on the map. Was
really?
Sense. Yeah. Yep.
You know what? I still need to see. His breakout. Need to see Glass still.
Yeah.
It was okay. Glass was okay.
Yeah.
It was on
what it was.
It was on the flight that I had to Utah to Anime Matsuri, and I was like, "Ooh, I bet there's a movie on the other flight since I'm using the same airline." And nope.
A flight to Utah?
Yeah. Hear about the whole thing going on at the airports? The flights got grounded and delayed and canceled.
He's going from Muslim to Mormon.
What a conversion! I heard about that. I heard about the whole thing. That's actually something I want to ask you guys because you guys went. Or I'm not sure if you went, but I know BPM and Crow. I know you guys went to AM. How was it? Or have you guys already talked about that on another recording?
I actually have a video going up. Some clips from the thing is YouTube. I don't know what's going on. It's a 20-minute video. It's taking like 7 hours to upload.
That's insane.
Yeah, right.
What's happening?
I don't know. I'm gonna reset my laptop once. I'm not gonna restart it now, just in case it's gonna take that long again. I'm just gonna probably post that thing at midnight my time. Just fuck it.
Well, since you already got a video coming up with it, I guess there's
I can talk
there's
about
things
it.
I still want to ask you, but I don't.
Yeah, this is gonna come up tomorrow, or next week, considering how long it is and what it's doing to me. But yeah, go ahead and ask me whatever questions you have, and BP too. I had a lot of fun though. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I would have gone. I would have gone to that. I would have liked to have gone to that, but I just the timing of it, and it's just like probably not the best choice right now for me to invest money in going and doing something like that at this particular point in time. But I'm thinking maybe for next year, I would definitely be down to go check that out because it looked like it was going to be a lot of fun, and I liked the lineup of guests that they had. So how was it though? Was it busy all throughout the weekend?
Yeah, no, the lines were insane for everything. That's why I think I was at the convention and I checked my Twitter and that whole Kick Vic thing saying it was empty, and I'm sitting there going like, I wish I could get through these damn lines. I wish it looked like that so I could go try things out. I wanted to go do the first day when everything opened up, everyone was piled together to get inside. And I wanted to play the Initial D racing game that they had set up. And each time I went down there to check it out, it was.
Dude, I used to play that game so much back when it came out. Oh my goodness, souped up my car every Friday, man, at the arcade. That was a great game. No, but that's the thing, yeah, because I saw that somebody posted and said that they took pictures of when the convention hall was closing.
Yeah,
just like that's why there's not. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think they probably took some of those photos from Thursday because nothing was open on Thursday other than the gaming hall.
Okay.
Like the exhibit hall was not open until Friday, and each day the exhibit hall was just packed with people. So I'm sitting there going like, how are you going to say that it was empty? It was like so many times there. Yeah.
How are you going to say it's empty? I'm like freaking sweating just by standing by too many people.
Yeah. That's how you know. That's how you know when a convention is popping, man, is if it's a big old place, that would be cold otherwise, and you're still feeling the heat because they crank up that AC to keep people cool in there, but you're still hot. That's how you know it's busy.
I bought fan art on 2 different days, and let me tell you that it was the most intense defensive driving I've ever had. 6-lane highways. It was just like, stay away.
Yeah, everyone's just smushed together trying to move to the different stands that they have set up. We checked out a couple panels, and I don't think that I posted about this, but there was a there was a panel that we went to before the fans panel. I think right, BP, the subs versus dubs.
Oh yeah, where they talked about ghost files or stories, whatever it was.
Stories dub. I had never heard about that, and they were playing clips from the Ghost Stories dub, and the thing was, I started to fall asleep during the start of it. As soon as they did that, I was dying in laughter.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it looked like it was fun, man. It's definitely one that I think I might check out for next year.
Oh, absolutely.
And plan a little bit more in advance because I thought about going. I was on the fence about going for a little bit, and I was talking with Tug about it, and he was like telling me, he's like, yeah, sign up for press, which I'm pretty sure I could have gotten credential. I've gotten credential for press before at shows, so I'm sure I would have been able to get press credentials.
Tug was great. He told me to do the same thing, and he's like, well, just say, yeah, you're part of my entourage. And I was like, should have done that.
Yeah. Well, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, see this and this, you could be on the panel with us. And I was just like, I'd be down for that because I've only ever done one panel before ever at a show. It was just kind of popping in as a guest for about like 10 minutes in a panel discussing Super Sentai. So it wasn't very long, but I wouldn't have minded doing that. Cool, just to talk and interact with people. But I was just like, the thing was just the timing of it, and I'm just like, man, I'm gonna shell out this amount of money which I could do that, but at the same time, I'm like, let me do it when I got a little bit more wiggle room, so that I don't have as many reservations about it.
Yeah.
So
if you're gonna go next year, I really want to next year, because she wasn't able to get the time off. I think if we better, I sort of I went ahead and did it last minute when I found out BP was going. It's like, yeah, I want to meet BP, so I got the ticket to go.
It's my boy BP. Let's go. We're gonna run this.
Yeah.
No, I had a great freaking experience there, though. All the panels just had to have been hundreds of people there in Vic panels, and for the fans, at least a couple hundred people. I came in late into Vic's first panel because it started during For the Fans, and then when I went in there, almost every single seat was filled, and like it just had a few seats sandwiched in between a bunch of nerds, so people couldn't get to them. And then maybe 6 people standing off to the side, and another couple standing in the back. Like, that room was crowded. There's a picture of Vic actually posing there, and it doesn't do it justice to the very first panel that he held.
Well, all the panels he held too. I know a couple other people that was there too, standing around to meet Vic. You had the Super Pass BP. They had the regular one. They were standing around for like 2 or 3 hours to get.
Some people stood around for 5 hours. 5 hours. That's how his lines were, guys.
Wow. Yeah, I went back to my hotel and they were like, "Hey, can you film this thing for us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm totally down." And like, "Hey, so how long do you think it's gonna be?" And they're like, "Oh, we've been here for about an hour and a half, so I don't know, probably like another couple hours if you want to take a nap."
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and purity test Crow here, or Judge, and just say he never saw Vic, guys.
Yeah, he did. I saw him.
Well, I mean, you ran into him, but you never went to his booth.
I was at the hotel where they were party.
Well, you could be like, well, it was fated to happen. Okay,
it was fated to happen.
It was fated to happen.
Yeah. So, what would David Koresh say, Crow?
Huh? What
would David Koresh say?
Drink the Kool-Aid, my children, and we will send to a higher plane.
That's kind of what he said. Are you sure? Crow, you're freaking me out. Don't even talk anymore. Anyway.
Oh goodness. No, I mean I'm glad to hear, man. I'm glad to hear that it went well. I mean, it looked like everybody had a good time out there, and that it was a positive experience, man. And that's the thing. It's just like I said. That's the most. I'm sure that's how the owners feel too. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to put on a show that people are buzzing about and have enthusiasm for. You know, that they're going to be talking about for the following Monday and maybe possibly the rest of that week. That's always a good thing with the show. So I'm glad to hear that you guys had a good time, because it was sounding like I was popping in from time to time on some of the live streams that people were doing, like Hayes and Tug, whenever they were throwing up a live stream. I would pop in there for a bit when I could, in between handling work stuff. And it looked like everybody was having a great time, and there was a lot of enthusiasm out there. So
that was amazing. I wish you could have gone, John, and you have to go next.
I'm gonna try to shoot for next year for sure, because the thing is, it gives me an excuse to go to Texas. Something I've always wanted to do. I've never been to Texas. Been to been to plenty of other different states, but never been to Texas, and have always wanted to go. So it gives me an excuse to head out there. And plus, a buddy of mine actually lives in Houston, so
there you go.
It gives me a reason to.
And I don't see how they don't invite Vic next year. Like, he was probably their biggest, or okay, he's one of their biggest attractions. We'll just put it that way. Like, they had the Godzilla shop there, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, well, one of the things when all the stuff started happening with Vic initially, I remember talking with my buddy James, he's one of my business partners. Me and him were talking about the whole situation. We're just like, this is just going to make his stock rise. Because the thing is, when you understand like how things are behind the scenes at conventions, like me and him kind of called it before it happened. I was like, they're doing him a favor by doing this, because people, they're going to want to see him more. He's going to become that much more of a rarity because of them canceling his other bookings. That's going to make him more of a rarity. And the thing is, for the people that are on the fence that have no idea or don't have an opinion either way about him, right? They're just like, oh yeah, that's that Full Metal Alchemist guy. I've heard things about him, and I've heard good things about him, and I've heard bad things about him, but I'm not sure that it's gonna have those people want to kind of make that decision for themselves, that distinction for themselves. Let me go see what this guy's really about. Let me see if he's as bad as people say. There are people like that they have that kind of fascination where it's to that point where he's almost like this mythical kind of creature in that sense, where it's just like, I gotta
he's
see.
He's the shiny legendary appearing with the perfect IVs. Exactly. And that's the thing. And now because he's being booked less, or has been booked less, which is going to turn around, I think, because it already kind of has. It's just going to make him a bigger draw. I mean, they almost kind of did him a favor in a sense, by going that extra mile of
look at the damage they did to themselves by doing this too. I mean, I'll be quite frank. When I've seen the videos and the photos of the panels that the other ones do, and you see the audience. It is nowhere. It is just nowhere close to the crowds Vic brings in.
And it never. And I don't think it will be. And the thing is, look, let's be honest here. And the thing, look, I don't know Sean Schemmel. Never met the guy. But what else has he done outside of being Goku's voice?
He's done Lucario from Pokemon.
So he just makes noises. Oh.
It broke my heart.
You came up with something. Wow.
It broke my heart. I love Lucario.
But that's, I think, with that whole situation, I think that's one of the things that
I'll say this just about Sean Schemmel.
It's better than Grumpig.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. And when it comes to watching Dragon Ball Z, like the old stuff, because I still love the Dragon Ball Z dub, even though a lot of those absolute. If you look at the way Sean Schemmel reacts to fans, it's very different than the way Vic does. And one of the things I'll give you is he got a lot of criticism. I assume you've watched Dragon Ball Super at least a little bit.
No, not at all. I haven't seen a single episode.
So there was a character, Black, which is like an evil version, right? I'm not going to go on it, but when Sean Schemmel did the voice, he did this very like rough, gritty kind of voice for it. Really different from the way it was in Japanese. A lot of people criticized it. It was what it was. And then the character transforms into like a Super Saiyan transform. He's got this British accent, and people went out and they said, the voice changed, and Sean Schemmel is literally fighting with fans of social media, stating he didn't change the voice, and people are being negative and just whining and bitching like a little girl. And so they're going like, dude, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I don't really care about this so much, but I'm listening to it. You changed the damn voice. Like, what do you want me to, like, how are we supposed to react to it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with a lot of these, I guess, voice actors, D-list actors, TV actors, whatever, is, I'm all for, see, that to me, you got to be able to have thick skin, and I don't understand why some of these people take things so personally, like him, like that. It's just like, dude, so what? I mean, it's just like, just take it on the chin. If you feel the need to rebuttal, I mean, just rebuttal. Well, look, I don't think I did that, but if that's what you guys are saying, okay, fine. And that's it, man, and just move on. I don't understand why some of them have this ego where they get so caught up with what people are saying. I mean, to me, if anything, it kind of shows quite the opposite. It might not be necessarily ego. It might be just that they have low self-esteem, as it is, and they just don't want to. They don't want to be shattered, I guess, any more than they have been.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit right here, and I'm not saying I like Sean or anything.
Boo! Boo! Devil's advocate! Boo!
Be quiet, David.
At least,
just don't bring up Kool-Aid. Just keep the Kool-Aid out of it.
At least he's like genuinely like annoyed at people. When you can like see it, like other people, they'll sit there and smile at you, and that's what really bugs me. Is just
like Ron Toy, you mean?
Like Monica and Jamie. It's just like they have this rehearsed. They have this rehearsed smile, and they'll give you this experience, and then you go and see the kind of things that are being said about you or people like you, and what people think about you. And if you can see that, just going back to what you were saying about seeing people, behind closed doors, if we can see this about people in public, like, oh my goodness, what is being said, when they don't think the cameras are on or reading their tweets.
Well, that's like with Sean Schemmel, right? It's interesting because I was actually talking with my wife about this earlier today, specifically Sean Schemmel, actually, because one thing I said, there is one thing I can, even though I think it's kind of like, okay, bro, it's not that serious, and we can all criticize that, right? Like the whole, bro, come on, don't be so fragile over the criticism. But at the same time, there's one thing that I can appreciate about him is the fact that you kind of know where you stand with him, right? Because of the fact that he's honest, he's about how he feels about things. So in that regard, I can respect that to a degree. I mean, I'd rather know that you're. I think it saves people time too when you know that a person's, when he's a dick up front. It's like, oh, okay. Cool. I mean, it saves everybody time if you think about it.
There you go, Sean.
They already know that.
So, we gave you your big win.
Yeah, so it's just like, so I can appreciate that degree of transparency, and this is something that I told people when I don't know if y'all are familiar with this, but you probably, I'm not sure if any of you watched Power Rangers growing up, but
yes,
one of the guys that was the Blue Ranger, the guy that was the Blue Ranger for Power Rangers Turbo. He was the one that was the little kid Blue Ranger, Blake Foster.
Yep.
He he had some controversial stuff that he said. I think maybe like a month or two back at this point, where he was kind of criticizing one of the newer Rangers on, I think, the current season on Beast Morphers. Yeah, he was criticizing the Gold Ranger. He's saying, "Oh, he looks like a weenie, like an L7 weenie." And people got all over him for saying that. So, how could you say that when you were like a dork? You were a little kid in the show, and this, that, or the other. He was like, "Oh no, I was a weenie too." Like, yeah, exactly. He's like, "I know." He's like, "I was a weenie too. My character was a weenie too." But he was just, he kind of gave his opinion on the matter, and people they got so mad that he had that opinion. And the thing is, the guy doesn't necessarily have the best etiquette and reputation when it comes to fans, and you can kind of see that when with how he interacts on social media with people. He doesn't always act the most professional. Exactly. But the thing is, I remember that there's people asking me about it. I'm just like, well, I mean, it's opinion. Even if you don't think it's a good opinion, it's still his opinion. But on top of that, I look at that and I say it's really not that big of a deal. And again, at least that's another one of those instances where, well, at least you know where the guy stands.
Yeah.
He's being upfront about who he is, and even if you don't like it, is the one thing I tell people is that I understand that a lot of these actors, voice actors, and whatever, they portray these characters, right, that are heroic and they have good morals and values or whatever. And then people meet them and they're just like, they're so disappointed. It's like, well, you got to remember, you got to separate that because they're not that character. I mean, it would be great if they were, right? If they were like that character, if they kind of held themselves to that same standard, it would be great. but that's not reality. And truth be told, as much as we would like to see that, they're not obligated to do that. They're just not. But that's why it's so great that we can vote with our dollars, because if you see that, it's like, you know what, I don't want your autograph no more. I don't want a picture with you. So I'm not going to give you my money.
Oh, no, you're
that's it.
Correct.
That's what you do in a situation like that. That's where you can decide, vote with your dollars. And like I said, I would love to see people that are in a professional space act more professional. That's where I would agree with most everybody that, yeah, of course, I want to see professionalism and things like that. But that's, we're not always going to get that. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. But at the same time, hey, look, people can say what they want, they can do what they want, but they're also going to have to deal with the consequences for what they say and what they do. So it's just it is what it is.
No, I can definitely see that point. I don't think that's giving credit to Sean Schemmel though.
Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's,
I'm saying for BP playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All I'm saying is that
I don't like Sean.
Yeah. My whole point is that I know there's a lot of people that get disappointed with what Sean does, and look, it's justified because people can feel how they want to feel, but I think also people need to realize that none of these people that portray these characters or these roles, they're not obligated to be like that character, and people need to be able to separate those things. They need to be able to separate the man. They need to be able to separate the voice. Yeah, separate in some cases. I mean, and if people can't do that, that's fine too. If people can't, that's fine too. But it's just realize that's kind of some of the risk involved when you're going to meet some of these people, that they might not be who you think they are. No, like in the case with like Blake, like I said, people probably think, oh, well, he was a Power Ranger. The Power Rangers are good, so he must be a good dude.
Yeah, some of them are bad. One of the Red Ranger from Wild Force, he killed his roommate.
Yeah,
what?
I mean, it's just
okay, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it supposedly was in self-defense, but hey, the guy's doing his time, so he's going to pay his
only like one dude. I'm only brushed up on people that
tend to do a mass genocide. You're right. Like Hitler and David Koresh. I got you, Crow. Well spoken.
Just not gonna let that one go.
But yeah, just to summarize, I'd rather someone be like a jerk up front and know where I stand with them than invest time and money into them and think I had this experience and it turns out like, wow, they actually think that of me,
I mean,
and I would agree with you, man.
Dragon Ball stuff that I would love to get autographed, but I would not waste my fucking time or money to go get an autograph from a box down to fans like the John does.
Could you just imagine? Like, what is it? I'm gonna go meet Master Splinter, okay? Like, I love the Ninja Turtles. I'm gonna go meet Master Splinter. I get there, and he's like, "What do you want, you beta cuck?" And I'm like, "I just want your autograph." And he's like, "He's like, well, hurry up here, give me my money so you can get the fuck out of my face." Like, Master Splinter just said that to me, and I just gotta.
No,
I respected you.
You said it was about not fighting until you have to fight first.
You must have fallen into the bad ooze,
Yeah, for real. Just pissed off because you're an ugly ass rat. I digress, though. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was great.
No, but I would agree with what you said, BPM. I kind of tend to exactly, if. And the thing is, I know that certain people can experience something different with people. They can have a completely different experience. But yeah, exactly. If there's like that, if you're kind of a jerk, it's I guess it's better to know up front. Okay, well, gotta stay away from that guy.
Yeah, fuck Master Splinter.
Guys, we've been going for roughly, I think, a little over an hour and a half now.
Yeah. Mr. Host?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Does anyone have any final questions for John? Our very special guest.
What is your favorite Sentai?
Mine's is actually Chojin Sentai Jetman.
That's cool. I respect that. Mine's Go Kiger.
Oh yeah, that one, I actually haven't seen it yet, but people love that one. A lot of people tell me good things about it. I have not seen it yet, though. I've seen one. I think one of the crossover movies that they're in. I think the Gavon movie.
Versus Kamen Rider. There's one with versus Kamen Rider.
No, I don't think I've seen that one, but I've seen the one that they did with Gavon, the team up movie with Gavon.
I'll send you a link to it because it's on YouTube for free. The one versus Kamen Rider. They're wiping each other out.
Yeah, man, I'm down to watch, man. I love Super Sentai stuff. It's fun, man. It's one of those things. It's these are shows that, of course, are aimed at a child audience, but man, some of them are really well written, man.
Some of them are dark. Like Gokaiger got stabbed in the throat.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor Joseph.
Yeah.
Yes, some of them can be pretty brutal with some of the stuff. Some of the ones from the early '80s, like if you watch like the first episode for Bioman,
yep,
which came out like 84 or no, I think it came out in 86 actually, either 85 or 86. I want to say, like in the very first episode, like these scientists, they get like shot up like nasty style. They go, oh, the blood flowing and everything. It's like, Jesus, this is oh my Lord, this is a kid show in Japan. It's just like, there's no way they would put that on TV over here. It's just like, it's horrifying. They're like getting shot up and you see like blood coming out of their bullet holes and stuff. It's it's just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Crow, BP, are you familiar with Power Rangers? Have you guys ever seen it?
I watched it some as a kid. I didn't really get too much into the characters behind the characters.
Yeah, Crow? No?
Pretty much the same. I've watched later series, but mostly just I'll see a clip or something on YouTube and I'll just be like, that looks fun.
Well, do you recall like how they would attack the people and they would all just scatter and run away?
Yeah.
Well, that shit does not happen in Kamen Rider. People are getting melted. People are getting eaten, harvested.
Oh my god! Kamen Rider sounds amazing.
It's great. It gets pretty brutal sometimes. I assume you've seen have you seen Garo?
Garo? No, I haven't actually.
Oh man, you need to. You need to watch Garo.
I got to. I found it. So I'm gonna check that one out.
Oh my gosh!
That one's actually meant for adults.
I figured out what you can do for your channel.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Some Kamen Rider reviews.
No, I'll do what I want.
Absolutely not.
I mean, you already have the video on your channel. It's just totally copyright.
Yeah, so do you, but it doesn't matter.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Crow's just pissed off because I don't upload and I get subs somehow, and I don't know how.
It's off that damn Naruto video.
But anyway, somebody else please take the question.
I got this. So, have you seen Gargoyles, and why does Disney have the rights?
Because they're... sorry.
I've seen Gargoyles, man. That's one of those ones I grew up with, man. Exactly. Who knows? But Disney owns everything now. They're gonna end up buying. They're gonna end up buying everything, man. So
it makes me sad because nothing's being done with it, and it was my favorite cartoon.
Oh, it was a great cartoon.
Yeah. They were so smart. They got like one of the best cartoons of all time, and it was way ahead of their time. And oh my god, I bought the whole series on Amazon. Buy it now. Click here.
Yeah. By the way, that's a good way to touch on like serious issues that happen in society without like
bring up reparations.
People. Yeah. So, what was my other question? Pirating or no pirating?
Oof.
Yeah, that's. I mean, look. Sometimes there's stuff that you just. There's no other way to get it, right? I mean, there's no other way to get it, so you have to.
Kids.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to give me the PC answer, and then I could be like, but One Piece.
One Piece. See, truthfully speaking, man, I mean, prior to like high-speed internet, I mean, the way that I grew up getting anime was bootleg, man, was through import stores and trading tapes with people, man. That's how you did it. You traded the VHS, man, when you wanted to get a certain anime series that you heard about, that it wasn't released or licensed over here yet. That's how you did it. You had to trade tapes, or you had to find the local import store or Vietnamese store in order to get some VHS with fan subs.
Yep, then BitTorrent and then Kiss-Anime or whatever, Kiss Anime.
Yeah, Anime Suke. Yeah. before that, man, Anime Suki. Back in the
guys, don't.
Crunchyroll wasn't legit. What?
Yeah.
What? Yep. You might have to. You might have to censor some of those out.
Right.
You know.
I used to get their fan subs. They were great. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I watched like Full Metal, man. I watched all the fan subs before. I watched a good portion of the fan sub, man, before it was released over here.
No joke. I can't watch the fan sub for anime. I can't do it. I'm too hooked on the.
Yeah, I was like, probably not now. Yeah, probably not now, Crow, but back then.
No, even back then, because I hadn't really watched. I think the first anime that I watched, which was subbed. This is crazy. It was I think it was a Oregon High School Host Club. Somebody brought a bootlegged DVD in for our anime club, and we watched that one. I was just like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome."
That's how the only way I got to see that Yu Yu Hakusho movie was by getting it. It was an awful dub, but whatever. I got it, and I got to watch it that way because it never got released here. What is it called? Poltergeist Report.
Is that the OVA?
Not the original. It was.
Oh, okay. Another one.
That was actually released before, like years before they ever released a show over here. Way before, almost that predated the show airing over here by almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's how I got it. I got a bootleg copy at Sci-Fi City.
Sci-Fi City. Oh man, a lot of memories there. Wow. Yeah. Sci-Fi City. You know they're still around.
Yeah, they are. I go there once in a while.
Yep, Sci-Fi City, man. I went to their store before they were before they went to the little part there when they were the big store.
Oh, when it looked like a spaceship? Yeah.
Yep, and before that, when they were Enterprise 1701, but they were in a different location.
Right, I can edit some of your stuff out, but is Sci-Fi City like a chain?
No.
Okay, well, people are gonna know where you guys live now. You want me to do?
Yeah, we just doxed ourselves. Yeah. We got to narrow down the big time of where we. If people want to find us, it's like they live around here.
Yeah, they live around here.
Let's wait for them at Sci-Fi City.
Yeah, for them. Good luck.
Wait for them.
Sci-Fi City is going to be like, we've never had this much traffic in years. You know, like you're welcome.
Exactly.
Be like 5 people waiting outside with milkshakes.
Sci-Fi City was the spot.
Milkshakes.
Yeah, it was the spot.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. You remember this far back with Sci-Fi City, man. But there was a point in time when it was in the big spot, the bigger spot. They on Friday and Saturday nights, 20 or like 30 goth kids would hang out in front of the store. Just hang out. They would just hang out. They wouldn't do anything. They would just sit there. They would just loiter. That's it. They would just stand in front of the store. They would talk, they would just talk, but they were just pretty much loitering. They wouldn't go inside. They would just congregate outside in front of the store.
No, they would. And those are the days that were hype because they had at first they had the PCs and then they migrated to Xbox, but that's when they had the, oh my God, Counter-Strike. They used to play Counter-Strike.
Yep. The Counter-Strike days. Yeah, man. Yeah. It was wild, man. BPM and Crow was like, "What are you guys talking about?
Fucking losers."
You'd have to live over here to know it's.
I heard goth kids, and I'm just thinking of that South Park episode.
It's not that far off, Like they probably ask you for $1 or a cigarette, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
we detracted so hard. I'm sorry.
I get the final question, and I have the perfect question to ask before we wrap up.
Go ahead. I already know what it is.
Really? If you know what it is, why don't you ask it?
Because it's your question. I asked mine.
Okay. Fair point. John, what is your opinion on reparations? I
think it's absolute nonsense.
Perfect.
Yeah, agreed.
Reparations are absolute nonsense. I mean, that's really as far as I'm going to elaborate. Absolute. I think that's pants on head.
Yeah. My dad got beat
it's
up.
Almost as nonsense as me asking the question.
No, my dad got beat up by a certain X race in school. I want money for that. Didn't happen that long ago.
Yeah. I don't think it's ultimately. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I hope it doesn't, because chances are that if something like that does go through, I think it's pretty clear who they're going to stick their hand out to is all the people that are taxpayers. So it's I'm good now.
Yeah, I'm glad Danny Glover had the time to not act in any of his acting career to take time to be part of the committee. So
yeah.
Oh man, you know what? I probably would have watched that committee if it was Morgan Freeman there. I already know his opinion on this, so.
Yeah, but Morgan Freeman actually has things to do and things to act in, right? So
he's got a new movie coming out. This something.
He's too busy fucking doing little, what is it, montage, like what do you call that? Like little voiceovers for 7-Up commercials and shit. That Morgan Freeman's got things.
No, he's got another movie where he plays the president.
No, yeah, Angel Has Fallen. The Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah. That was it.
Was that Bruce Almighty? Another Bruce Almighty movie?
No, it's the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen, where they invaded and took over. Yeah, they took over the White House. Yeah, Morgan Freeman's the president.
Okay. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I would be down to see Morgan president, because I think him giving a speech, everyone would just be listening to everything that man says and just taking it as gospel.
I'd be down for him to be president, because why not at this point,
Right?
Yep.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Again, want to say a very special thanks to our very, very special guest, John, who is also known as ToyBountyHunters.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. I had fun talking.
Yeah, it was fun. I thank you guys for having me on.
Pause there.
Yeah, do it again.
I don't know. I didn't want to nerd out too hard. I was like, this is great talking to you. I have no common ground with anyone.
Got common ground with me, buddy. We're JoJo buddies for life.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we
VP, say your goodbyes.
Yeah. So,
say your goodbyes.
Thanks so much for coming on. I know Crow's a bit much, but
I'm not.
To be fair, I think I was the problem in this one. So,
Sci-Fi City.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Couch Crows. Please like, comment, hit us with a subscription if you want to see more content just like this. And let's say bye, everybody. Bye to the viewers.
Bye.
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 Adios.
頂戴しちゃうからねウルトラファイティングミラクルボンバーでカスはみんなお掃除しちゃうよ俺がバッタさ青いハリケーンさを無敵のスピード Yes we are ただいま参上宇宙一のエリート戦士泣く子もたまるで義乳特戦隊 Yes we are スペシャル 分けてなどやらないからな。
特戦隊特戦隊特戦隊
俺様が義勇だ隊長と呼ばれる。貴様の力すべて見せるがいい。フリーザ様のため俺は戦うのだ。貴様が誰であろうとも倒す。光栄に思え喜びのダンスを今見せてやろうじゃないか。 Yes we are ただいま参上宇宙一のエリート戦士。帰るは嫌いだなぜかわからんが Yes we are 順番決めは公平にな。じゃんけんだぞ戦士はフェアなのだ。覚えとくがいい。
特戦隊特戦隊
Yes we are ただいま参上宇宙一のエリート戦士。泣く子も黙るぜ義勇特戦隊。